Now, I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends, and of course, we were discussing relationships. But this time, we were specifically talking about the romantic relationship that she had because she's going through a breakup, but it's just really hard for her. And I asked her, and I'm going to ask you today about the emotional availability of yourself. So, the question that I have for you is, are you emotionally unavailable? Now, why is that question important to ask yourself? It is very important for you to ask yourself this particular question before you get into a relationship, because this is when you're able to become vulnerable with your spouse about the things that you need, about the things that you want, about the things that you like, about the things that you dislike. Just being able to have those critical, often tough conversations that can really make you uncomfortable, or that can make your spouse uncomfortable, or your significant other uncomfortable, or even yourself uncomfortable. Because let's be real, anytime we are asking for something that we want, depending upon how our spouse reacted previously, we have that in the back of our mind, right? We're thinking about, well, if I bring this up, it went this way last time. It's probably going to go this way. So how about I just stay away from that, right? But what you don't realize is when you run away from the tough, critical conversations, these are the conversations again that you need to showcase and share your vulnerability to your spouse with. But they are also the conversations that will build and create those deeper bonds that each of us need in order to be in a healthy romantic relationship. And so, going back to the story with my friend, she was telling me just some of the things that she didn't like, that she disliked, some of the things that she's now saying to her ex. And what I wanted to propose to you today is, why are we having these conversations after the fact? The fact of the matter is, a lot of us have no idea how to be in a healthy romantic relationship. We don't know the questions that we need to ask, or we're afraid to ask those questions because of our past traumas. And I talked about that before, right? Because of our past traumas, we're not ready to deal with the tough or critical conversations that can literally keep you two very, very tight and together, not realizing by avoiding those conversations, you are keeping the distance. There is a wall in between you and your significant other that neither one of you will be able to penetrate, because one or both parties are scared to have these difficult conversations. So, let me go ahead and define what emotional unavailability actually is, which is someone who does not respond to your emotional needs or your cues, right? They can have persistent difficulty or expressing or handling emotions, and or getting emotionally close to other people. What all of that means is you yourself could be afraid to become emotionally available and or get close to somebody for fear. Now, fear can cover a plethora of things, but I want to specifically bring fear into the mix here, because fear can stop you from having these critical conversations that I'm talking about, which keeps you emotionally unavailable, not able to connect to your partner or significant other on a deeper level. Because each of us can sit there and talk about the good things. We can sit there and talk about movies that make us laugh, some that make us sad. We can talk about them for a little bit because it's not us, right? It's not me in that scenario or in that situation. So I can talk about it. But why is it when it comes time for us to have these critical conversations with our spouse, we shy away from them, or we shut down, or we avoid them? Again, not realizing that the bond that we're seeking comes from you being vulnerable. It comes from you being able to connect. It comes from you being emotionally available. So, not shutting down when it's critical, when you hear your spouse is dealing with something, not just looking like a deer in headlights, trying to find the words, right? or trying to move. So because the deer in headlights is actually in the freeze, right? I talked about the fight, flight, or freeze a few weeks ago. So the deer in headlights literally cannot move. They're frozen. They're stuck there. And this is how a lot of us are in our relationships. We're actually stuck going around that merry-go-round, round and round, not realizing why our relationships are not becoming any deeper. How come I feel like I don't know my spouse? How come my spouse feels like he doesn't know me? How come we're still on the same hamster wheel having the same conversation over and over and over and over again? A lot of that has to do with you not being emotionally available to your spouse when he or she needs it. And or if you're watching this because you literally could be the emotionally available partner, but you're with a partner that is emotionally unavailable. So you absolutely can send them this episode, send them this link so they can get a better understanding of what is actually happening and how they can change things themselves. All right. Okay, so now I want you to also realize that everyone expresses their emotional unavailability in different ways. However, there are a few telltale signs, right? So, this is something that you may be doing. Again, this may be something that your spouse is doing, but either way, we're going to get down to at least a few points so you can pinpoint, ah, that's what that actually is. That's what that actually means. He's doing this. Ah, he's emotionally unavailable, and this is the way that he's expressing that. So I have 5 things for you to pay attention to in your relationship, right? So the very first one is where your partner seems to be standoffish in general. Just in general, there is no connection. You felt like there was a connection in the beginning when the rose colored glasses were on, and when you guys were in the honeymoon phase, you felt like there was a connection, and now you're realizing it wasn't a deep connection. It was a superficial connection, and now he just seems standoffish about everything that is important to you. There are no connections being made the way that they used to be made, and so now it's just like, why am I here? I don't know him. He don't know me. He doesn't open up. Like there's a whole lot of things that you're going through in your head about the connection not being there and not realizing, oh, he's never vulnerable. I'm always vulnerable. I share. And then when I ask him to share, he either shuts down or changes the subject, right? He's emotionally unavailable as well as emotionally immature as well, but that's a different topic, right? Emotionally unavailable people just seem standoffish in general. Okay, so the second thing that I want you to pay attention to, and maybe you're doing this and or your partner or spouse is doing this, is that you can tell, but you've also noticed that it is very challenging for your partner or spouse to talk about their feelings. This is someone that is emotionally unavailable. Again, this could be you. This could be you. So I want you to think about whenever somebody shows some type of emotions, what do you do? What is your response? How do you react? Do you lean in? Do you give them a hug? Do you empathize with them? Like, oh man, I understand. I went through X, Y, and Z, and now you're sharing your stories for connecting with them, right? Sympathizing with them. Or do you immediately shut down? Like, oh man, good luck with that. Or do you change the subject? Like, you cannot find a way to connect with the person, and or there's no way in Hades that you are showing your feelings toward that particular subject, even if it does touch a heartstring. You're still not opening up. It's very challenging for an emotionally unavailable person to share this information, to connect with their spouse. There's just no way to do it because they are scared of maybe they've done this before and they were rejected. In some form or fashion, they were rejected. And so to protect themselves, not realizing that that protection air quotes, is harming them, is harming the relationship, is harming the marriage in the big picture. You think that you're protecting your heart, you think that you're protecting yourself, but in the big picture, you're actually ruining and destroying any chances of you feeling like this is my person. This is my person. This person understands me. I got lucky. I am blessed. You'll never get to those feelings, feeling intoxicated by you finding your person, if you never open up and be vulnerable in order to showcase and share your emotional availability. The third thing to pay attention to, again, this could be yourself, it could be your spouse. The third thing is that this person avoids certain topics or situations involving emotional expressing, including but not limited to intimacy. I know a lot of people think that intimacy is automatically sex. That intimate sex is a part of intimacy, but it is not the only thing. Intimacy and sex are not synonymous. It's deeper than that, right? But it is a part of intimacy. It's not the only thing. Most people think when we talk about intimacy, we talking about sex. No, actually, we're not. We're talking about those times when I can sit there and hold your hand, when I can literally say nothing to you, look you right in your eye, and without us uttering a word, you understand me and I understand you. And we can go off and do X, Y, and Z. Now, that look could be the look for sex, but it also could be the look because y'all have your own language, because you two are connected. You guys look at each other. Maybe somebody is saying something, or y'all both notice something about to go down. Y'all don't say anything, but y'all look at each other and y'all head for the door. Like, those are very intimate moments. It could literally just be that you want to be in the person's presence and not say anything. And you're just gazing or staring in their eyes and they're reciprocating it, right? You guys are just here. Whether people are in the room or not does not matter. You two are here with one another. And then maybe that leads to a deep kiss. Or again, maybe it's that signal for you two to go. Maybe it is the time when you're sitting there sharing your feelings about the day, about the things that you didn't like and how they transpired and how they made you feel inadequate or insecure, right? The goal that you're trying to attain, that for some reason you cannot figure this thing out and it makes you feel crappy. But being able to just be yourself, flaws and all, well, that person just gets you. Like, I was watching this, it was on Facebook, and it was of a sister and a brother, like a black couple, and he was on there professing his love for the young lady because she wears eyelashes and wigs, and she has makeup and everything, and without he was basically saying that without all of that stuff, I still love her. And like the video was showing where she was all made up and then she started like taking off stuff, and he was just praising everything about her. And literally, that is the type of person that you want to be with. Now, it doesn't have to be displayed like theirs was, but it's a great example for the flaws that we feel that we have, or the enhancements that we're trying to make, that when we take all this stuff off, is somebody still going to love me? Is somebody still going to want me? And it was such a beautiful thing to witness. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, the video was like a minute, 3 minutes, something like that. But the point is, he was on there like, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, she looks beautiful with all this stuff on, but guess what? Even without it on, she still is beautiful. And he was just praising her and giving her flowers, if you will, while she was here on earth instead of waiting until she passed away. And I don't know these two people, but that moment was beautiful. And that is also him being able to be emotionally available for her, because he was expressing how he felt when she had on the stuff, but he was also expressing as well the great things that he liked about her when she wasn't wearing it. And he was really talking about her internal, who and how she is as a person, as a woman, right? As his lady. And of course, she was just smiling, she was beaming. And that is the thing and the type of person, the type of man that you want to have in your life. He didn't shut down when she took off her wig. He didn't shut down when she took off her lashes. He didn't shut down when whatever, right? He was embracing all of her at the many stages that each of us have, because the truth of the matter is, when we going out on the street so the world can see us, it's usually not the same way we look inside our homes, because there might be pajamas, it might be some sweats, right? It's no makeup, you just chilling. But when it was time to go out and show yourself and showcase yourself to the world, now we have on the wigs or the makeup or whatever it is that you go to before you leave out the house, right? And it's a beautiful thing to be able to be you inside your home and not feel like you have to, oh my Lord, I got to get up and put on this makeup before he wake up because he ain't ever seen me. Like, no, if the person has never seen all of you, then number one, you have an issue with you. That's number one. But then number two, if you don't have an issue with yourself, and then you notice that your guy has an issue with you, sis, he just ain't for you. I know, easier said than done. Sometimes we can't just walk away. I get it, but I'm just saying, I want you to open up your eyes and understand, and please open up your ears to hear what I'm saying. If you cannot be yourself, knowing that you love yourself, I'm saying that you know that you love yourself and you don't have any issues with yourself, or little to no issues with yourself. Okay, great. But then your significant other has a whole bunch of issues with you. If you don't look a certain way, if you don't talk a certain way, if you don't, whatever it is, fill in the blank, the way that they like you to do it, that's a problem. That's a problem. I digress. I went down a rabbit hole. The fourth thing I want you to look out for and even notice, especially if you're doing this stuff yourself, is that you avoid commitment. Now, have you ever heard the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything? Now, avoiding commitment is not just in the form of a relationship. Avoiding commitment could be to anything, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're avoiding commitment, it may be to the relationship, right? No. There's something wrong. You want to get tied down, whatever it is. You've heard and or saw many times that after somebody gets into a relationship, the relationship changes. Whatever your story is that you're telling yourself. So it could be in the form of your romantic relationship, but it could be in the form of you trying to reach said goal that you set for yourself, but you'll find some way to sabotage it. And it doesn't matter if it's a big goal or a little goal. You just gonna find some way to commit in the beginning and then find a way to sabotage it, i.e., stop committing to that goal. It could be because you're not making time for it, right? And all of that boils down to, it could be playing games, could be scrolling on social media, could be always needing to be with and around somebody, not being by yourself. It's a plethora of things, right? If we're talking about weight loss, it could be you're not drinking enough water, you're not eating the right stuff, you're not working out, right? There's more things to that, right? If it's about your relationship, it could be avoiding those difficult conversations that I said. It could be not knowing what you want. And so because you don't know what you want, now you can't articulate the thing that you want to your spouse, because you have not sat down and made a commitment to yourself to figure out who you are, what you want, what you need, what you desire, so you can use this and share it with your spouse. You want all of these things. You want a great life. You want a great relationship, but you have yet to take the time to sit down and plan out what that looks like, or come up with a strategy for how to attain said thing. So you're not committing to it, or verbally you're committing to it, but your actions don't match this. And if your actions don't match what's coming out of here, there's a disconnect. So emotionally unavailable people usually have an issue with committing to things. I had this client, and he was afraid to let down his guard and be vulnerable to his girl. But then I also noticed when we were talking, he would have an issue with committing to a particular goal. He would start one goal. He's on the path, and after a few weeks or a few months, that thing didn't work out the way he believed that it should, and so he would stop it and try to pick up something else. So he did not really commit to attaining that particular goal, the first one that he started, because things weren't playing out the way that he believed that they should be playing out in his time frame. And life don't work like that. And if you talk to any type of business owner and entrepreneur, it takes much longer than you anticipate to reap the rewards and or benefits of the work that you're putting in. And so how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And so if he is not satisfied with the 1 to 2 months of giving his time, giving his focus, giving his energy, the results of that, because it's not fast enough, right? He's not reaping his rewards or benefits right away. He stops that thing. Guess what he's going to do with you in a relationship? Because he can't commit to anything. And so after the honeymoon phase with you, there's no way in Hades he's thinking about opening up and revealing his true self to you. He doesn't want to talk about the deep conversations that could actually take the relationship to the next level, because he's emotionally unavailable. This is a side note. This also happens with after your breakup and you try to get with someone right away. That person that we refer to usually as the rebound, right? So this rebound person, because you've been hurt before, now you have some selfish tendencies and reasons as to why you're jumping in so fast. But a lot of it is that you are not emotionally available to the next person because you're still attached over here. And so this person over here, there's no way that you can give yourself to this person because you're still really attached to this person over here. You're emotionally unavailable. So instead of jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, we got to stop and we got to get some healing. You got to get some healing. Now, if you need some help with your healing, I'm totally here for you to do that. I want you to sign up for your free 20-minute strategy coaching conversation with me. I will put the link here, but I'm going to say it here right now. It's bit.ly/help my relationship. The H in help is capital. Help my relationship. Because a lot of us just have no clue as to what we're doing. We know that we want to be in a relationship. But now what type of relationship is that? Do you know if you want to be married? Do you know if you want to stay dating? Do you know if you just want to have a long-term relationship where you have companionship? Okay, past that, do you know if you want to have children? Like, there are so many things that we need to ask. And the question that I want my clients to ask nowadays, because it's so pertinent, is when you're dating, to ask that person, what healing have you done so far? And or the trauma that you have experienced, because all of us have experienced trauma. All of us. Painful experiences, whatever word you want to insert there. But what you're trying to do is to see how much that person has healed and how much they'll be able to be available emotionally for you. Because if they automatically shut down, trust me, sis, when it's time for you to pour out your heart and you thinking that they're going to come in and embrace you and hold you and be there for you, he's not. It's not even so much that he's doing it on purpose to be mean. That's not something that he wants to do right now, and or he's too fearful to do that thing, which again, the result is you're still not getting it. So if you are out there dating, even in a serious relationship, and you have not asked this question, maybe you have seen some things, but I don't know if this is it. Ask him about trauma, ask him about therapy, ask him about coaching. What have you done to start healing your inner child? Because that's the thing that's broken in most of us, is our inner child. That's the thing that's keeping us stuck and held back. That is the thing that is keeping most of us from being able to connect on a deeper level, from being able to experience the love that we want, from being able to just lean in and really wholeheartedly give our hearts and give ourselves to our spouses, because that inner child has yet to be healed. And because of that, you are emotionally unavailable to yourself, but also to your spouse and even to your children. Like, this is deeper than just the romantic relationship, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you're emotionally unavailable to your spouse or significant other, you're probably the same way with your child or children and even your friendships. There's something that is holding you back from being able to express as well as experience what a true friendship, what a true partnership is all about. The fifth and final thing for you to pay attention to, you may be doing this yourself, it may be coming from your spouse, is that this person that is emotionally unavailable gets defensive easily. It doesn't matter what you say or what you've done, their automatic response, and it's really a reaction, but their automatic response is to get defensive. The guard automatically goes up. They're the pessimistic person, usually. They're trying to figure out what they did wrong automatically. They're making you out to be the bad guy, right? So if you get defensive automatic, there's no way that you're able to be that emotionally stable, as well as emotionally intelligent and emotionally available person. There's something that is missing. And so I just want you to think about this, because emotionally available people are comfortable sharing an uninhibited connection with someone else, and usually your spouse or partner, right? Being emotionally unavailable can lead you to having difficulty loving yourself as well as others, which is exactly what I'm talking about here today. You cannot be emotionally available to others if you are not emotionally available to yourself first. So if you can't express how you're feeling, there's no way that you can take in and sympathize or even empathize with somebody else about their feelings. There's no way, because you're not in touch with your own. So how you going to be in touch with somebody else's? Don't work that way. Because of your emotionally unavailability, you will attract emotionally unavailable people to you, especially your significant other. If you're emotionally unavailable, trust me, we attract who we actually are in this moment. So if you are emotionally unavailable in some form, because I told you it shows up in different forms, in some form or fashion, your significant other is emotionally unavailable. It might be the exact same way that you are. It could be different. Because Many people show up and share their emotional unavailability in different situations and scenarios, right? You're not alone, which is why you need to get healing, which is why you need to start healing that inner child, those painful experiences. Forgive yourself for them. Forgive the person that did that to you, because forgiveness is not for you. Excuse me, forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for yourself. So you can stop staying stuck and you can actually move forward in your life, specifically your love life. Because so many of us are stuck. And whenever that thing triggers you, you revert back to the first painful experience in which that trauma was imprinted on you. You being emotionally unavailable can lead you to find reasons why not to get close to someone. Like, man, nah, this ain't gonna work out. Nah, I've been there, done that. Nah. Oh no, this man, relationships suck. They always want me to open up and talk about my feelings. Those are people you need to listen to what they're saying, because you get into a relationship with them and you are going to be the one that's why? How come you don't open up and talk to me with tears? See, I ain't even doing it the way. Like, why you won't open up and talk to me? The ugly face, ugly tears, all of that. But these are the things that I want you to be aware of before you get into a relationship, and especially a marriage, because my the reason why I'm put here, my God-given purpose to be here, is to help you not to experience a divorce or even a breakup at that matter. But I'm really focusing on marriages and divorces, right? Because I am a divorcee. And I even started this because I was never taught. And it really burned me up that I was never taught this information. But then after I had a conversation with my mom as to why, now I got an understanding. But if I can help one person out there to not go through the divorce process, to choose wisely in the beginning, and or have the strength enough to walk away now before you say I do, then I've done my job. I have met and fulfilled my purpose. And when you restore yourself, you're going to attract a restored, healed person that loves themselves, that can be emotionally open, emotionally available to you. So you're not trying to claw and clamor at, open up to me, talk to me, how come or feeling all alone while you're in a relationship, because now you're crying and you're not being consoled. You're crying and then you hear, why you cry so much? Or why you acting like a baby? Just not being for you, because he either doesn't want to or doesn't know how. But at the end of the day, you're still feeling lonely and left out. And I don't want you to feel lonely or left out, because you have the power to create the relationship that you want. Y'all, I'll see y'all next time. I'm Marshawn Olanio.